Morning, everybody. It is 8:11 a.m. It is April 1st, new month today. Yesterday, remember I said there could be some shenanigans. Well, it was pretty much all day. It wasn't just into the close. So pretty much had a trend day and then consolidated and then continued the trend. Window dressing, end of the quarter, end of the month, probably the reason for this. Generally, April tends to be a bullish month, but who knows? We have that Liberation Day tomorrow with reciprocal tariffs coming into play. Don't Not sure how that's going to affect markets. We already know about it, so that could be priced in. I'm not sure. Um, we just have to see what this market's going to do, right? Is that a temporary bottom that we just hit yet the other day, pre-market yesterday? I don't know. I don't know. All right. So without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the market, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, and the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day, plus my market internals, which shows me what's going on under the hood of the markets. And yesterday, those market internals were screaming bullish. Screaming bullish. Yeah, I'll show you that right now. You can just see it. This number of like plus 830 is very, very bullish. This just continued to grow all day. You can see all the green sectors up here. Pretty bullish. Everything was lit up green off that bounce. So, why don't we just get into this? Of course, as always, you smash that like button if you enjoy my analysis. All right. And hopefully you can join me every day. Do this at around in the mornings, around 8 a.m. Try to do that consistently. Give you the market story, give it a lowdown, what's going on, leaders and laggards, market news, economic calendar, and of course the long and short trade scenarios when I do the NASDAQ and the ES futures analysis. Okay, so that's every day. All right, now let's just get right into the futures watch list here. All right, and see what's leading the pack. Now this morning we have the VIX is up 2.69%. We got a 22.88 VIX. All right, Ether is up 2.32%. Bitcoin's bouncing up 2.09. 30-year bonds are being bought, sending yields lower. Gold is up 0.34. The dollar is up 0.07. Silver is pretty much flat, but up 0.05. Crude had a nice big bounce yesterday. I took one contract off of that bull call spread I had on crude, and I'm hoping to hold that to expiration. So that's a good thing. Russell is down 0.21. Nasdaq's down 0.36. ES down 0.41. The Dow is down 0.54, and the 10-year yield is down 2%. Okay, so the people are buying bonds. Okay. Now, let's move on to the Max 7 Plus. Let's see where we're at here. All right, I did see, I think Tesla's set to miss delivery numbers in Europe, I believe. But they are up this morning, up 1.73%. Okay. Coinbase, the Bitcoin proxy is up 0.74. Nvidia's up 0.18. Now let's go to some laggards here. We'll go to the over 50% here. JP Morgan's down 4.53. Eli Lilly down 0.54. Netflix down 0.60. Amazon down 0.85. And Apple down 0.87. That rounds out that. Let's go straight into sectors here. Who's leading the pack today? It is utilities, which is not even leading the pack. They're not even up. So everything's pretty much lagging. We'll go to the bottom four. We have energy down 0.24. We have healthcare down 0.36. Johnson & Johnson, probably some of that. Healthcare is down 0.37. I just said that. This is technology down 0.37. And financials is the laggard today, down 0.52. All right. Let's move on to the economic calendar here. All right. Today, 10 a.m., we have ISM manufacturing PMI, Jolts jobs, and ISM manufacturing employment. So at 10 a.m., I'll probably let the dust settle and then analyze the market. Okay. That's the economic calendar. Now, as far as news goes, let's see. Well, let's see some stock news here. Tesla stock rose 1.1%, rebounding after plunging more than 35% in the first quarter. The EV manufacturer is set to report its first quarter delivery data this week, with data showing sharp falls in sales throughout Europe. Nvidia stock rose 0.3, with the chipmaker stock starting the second quarter on a positive note after registering losses of nearly 20% in the first 3 months. Boeing stock fell 0.6 after the aircraft manufacturer denied a media report from the air current of fluctuations in 737 MAX production, saying that output had not reached 38 per month so far this year, and nor had production recently fallen. Let's see what else. Ulta Beauty stock rose 1.8%. The Goldman Sachs upgraded stance on the chain of beauty stores to buy from neutral. XPeng stock rose 3.6 after the Chinese electric vehicle maker reported a sharp increase in quarterly deliveries. And here's Johnson & Johnson. Stock fell 3.5 after the judge rejected the consumer healthcare giant's $10 billion proposal to end tens of thousands of lawsuits alleging that its baby powder and other talc products cause ovarian cancer. All right, moving on to some more news. Let's see. Exclusive pharma industry lobbies Trump for phase tariffs. Tesla car sales in key European markets drop again in March. OpenAI to raise 40 billion in SoftBank-led round to boost AI efforts. U.S. judge, we already know that, by Johnson & Johnson. Let's see. Global deal activity disappoints. M&A revenue falls as Trump pursues tariffs. Let's see what else here. So AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly and Company, Johnson & Johnson drug makers are lobbying U.S. President Trump to phase in tariffs on imported pharmaceutical products in hopes of reducing the sting from the charges and allow time to shift manufacturing, according to 4 sources familiar with the discussions. Trump is expected to unveil a massive tariff plan on Wednesday. All right. Let's see what else is going on. So it looks like Ford Motor Company, General Motors, Tesla, and Toyota. Tesla sales in France and Sweden fell year on year for a third consecutive month in March, contributing to the lowest first quarterly sales figures in 2 countries since 2021 for Elon Musk's electric car brand, data showed. All right. Let's see. Freeport McMoran, the miner, lowered its forecast for the first quarter gold sales on Monday after shipment timing issues in Indonesia led to deferral of a portion of its quarterly production to future periods. Let's see here. Intel, in its first remarks as the new CEO, Lip Bu Tan, on Monday outlined a leaner version of an iconic American chipmaker in which he would work directly with engineers to develop new products based on feedback from the company's customers. Okay. Let's see. Trump tariff liberation means endless complication. The U.S. president is preparing to reveal levies on imports worth trillions of dollars that will kick off a process of retaliation and negotiation which may last years. Trump's devotion to using tariffs to tackle a range of American woes means trade uncertainty is here to stay. All right. Let's look at the juice. See if the juice has anything for us. Let's see. It says U.S. equities swung between gains and losses, hinting at another volatile session on Wall Street as the arrival of tariffs looms over markets. Gold extended its winning streak. All right, let's see here. It says EU's von der Leyen. The EU has a strong plan to retaliate if necessary and will use it. Let's see. Fed Williams yesterday said the economies don't have stagflation right now. That's about it that I'm going to do there. And I think we move on to the daily charts. Let's do the daily charts. Now, check where we went yesterday. Look at that trend line. Boy, oh boy. Right to the, look at that. Right on that trend line. Wow. All right. So we tagged that trend line. We didn't quite hit the 2024 anchor VWAP, but nailed that trend line and then bounced. We bounced, right? We took out this swing low. We actually took out last week's lows, closed back within last week's range, right? And where are we at today? 556. We're at 556. We are right here. I would say in the upper third to mid portion of the session. Okay. Let's look at futures. So you can see came all the way down. Boom. Went all the way up here. And now we're kind of like nestled inside yesterday. Okay. Let's look at the Qs. So the Qs finally broke the 2024 anchor VWAP, hit this trend line, bounced, closed right above the anchor VWAP for 2024. Where are we at now? We are at 466.50. 466.50. So we're in the upper third portion of yesterday's range. Let's look at futures to see right there. And it looks like we have a confluence high right there at the highs. We'll go over that in a little bit. But you can see push down, and we're kind of hanging around the upper third of yesterday's session. Okay. All right. Let's look at our triple-headed monster. That was your daily charts. Let's go to the triple-headed monster now, and that's your bond market, your dollar, and your VIX. All right. Let's do that. There's the good old bond market, and yeah, we're gonna test this support right now, like I was talking about yesterday. Like I said, came up here, still in a downtrend. That was the swing high now, and then we're really getting bonds. Bonds are really getting bought. So we're gonna test this 4.13 yield. If we break this, we should go down to 3.991. All right. This is probably showing a more risk-off market. People are probably getting nervous. All right. So now we go switch to the dollar. So the dollar made a swing high as well. Let's see what happens here. It's kind of catching a little bit here, but that dollar's kind of been hanging around this area. We just have to see what happens. Now, as far as the VIX, our fear gauge, we came all the way up here. We dropped all the way down. We came all the way back up, and now we're rising again. We're at about a 23 VIX, basically. 23 VIX should have nice ranges today. Should good volatility today. All right, let's go to the main event. That would be your market profile, volume profile, the ES and the NASDAQ futures. Let's go there now. Alrighty. Alright, let's look at this together. Let me get my marker out. And we'll look at what happened yesterday. Okay, let's just recap yesterday. Alrighty. Alright, so we opened here, and there's the low, right? We took out these overnight lows, and then it was just a trend day. We consolidated a little bit, then boom, hit for quarter end, window dressing, and the month end. And where did we go? The most traded price of the month. Okay, that's the recap. So let's close this back up. Hold on one second. All right, so let's look at some levels together. All right, our profile. What happened yesterday was the most traded price of the week has moved lower. Okay, that's 56.24 right here. Most traded price of the month, 56.70. We're back in ultimate balance. Look, whenever these most traded price of the month and the week are next to each other, we are in ultimate balance. Okay, big move is going to happen. All right, the longer we stay here, the bigger the move. Okay, so you can see yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows, overnight highs, overnight lows. Okay, you can see we're inside yesterday's session, in the middle of this chop. Okay, in the middle of this chop. So that area, this area in between 56.70 and 56.24 is kind of like an area I don't want to be involved in the middle of this. It's a chop city, chop suey, whatever you want to call it. Right? You can see we have a new month-to-day VWAP here. We have the week-to-day VWAP here. A bunch of demand zones. Okay, and basically midpoint of yesterday was 56.03 right there. Okay, so it's going to be all about this ultimate balance area. Okay, it's going to be all about it. Okay, so let's look at some levels to see. Right here, you got a confluence low. You got the overnight low lining up with the most traded price of the week and this demand. Okay, and then you have a nice little confluence high here with yesterday's highs and the overnight highs lining up with the most traded price of the week, which is 56.70. I mean, sorry, of the month, most traded price of the month. Okay, so that's basically, let me try to see here. Obviously, you got demand on last week's lows right there. That's basically, what the market's going to do, and it already did it. Brought value down. Okay, value follow price here. So we're right on it, which is not unusual to be right on the most traded price of the week. That's what they're magnets. They price gravitates towards them. Okay. So basically, we have an area here, a lot of demand here. All right, have demand here, and then as far as supply, you have a little supply zone right here, and it's really about this area. Okay, so we're gonna get right into scenarios here. All right, let's start with the bull side first. Okay, price right here. Remember, overnight lows match right up with this most traded price of the week. So maybe we push down into this demand, get some support, hold, and try. Like I said, I would only want to get in right here, not in here in the middle, and see if you could ride up to this 56.70. Break this supply, right? If you break this, you want to find acceptance above this 56.70. Go and try to clean these single prints, right? And try to go up into this supply zone. Okay, now single prints are there. That's emotional selling. And Elfie's making an appearance here in inverse Elfie. Inverse, because usually on the downside it's an elephant on a toothpick, but this case is inverse Elfie. So now we also could do a little bit of a deeper of a pullback. Now, depending if the market is not that weak, this could also just boop and see if you can maybe go to here. Okay. You go below this area, yeah, that's just the weak. The market's weak. Okay. The market's weak. Let's go to a bear side. Okay. So, price is right here. Okay. This is going to be tough to just short here. So the only thing I see is a couple things. You have to take out all this demand and find acceptance lower to see if you can test yesterday's lows. Okay. You have to really cut through a lot of demand here. Okay. We could also push up into this supply and this 56.70, not find acceptance above it, find resistance in the single prints, come back down, and we probably just chop in here. Remember, April 2nd, tomorrow is that Liberation Day. Reciprocal tariffs go into effect. Probably priced in already, but the market could be like, you know what, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's go in the middle of balance. Okay. So, I don't think I'm in love with too many shorts today. Like I said, though, I don't like being in this area, so we just have to see. Okay, that is your ES. Let's move over to the NASDAQ. Okay, let's make bigger. All right, let's go right into the key levels. All right, so in the Nasdaq, we have that week high, confluence high I talked about. That's your 195.11 to 194.89, and this is also supply. It's been resistant multiple times. Okay, you have the price currently in the middle of the overnight session, which is very, very balanced. You have yesterday's highs, overnight lows, yesterday's lows. Okay, you have a lot of demand here. Okay, now in the Nasdaq, they did not bring the most traded price of the week lower yet. Okay, so price has not value has not followed price yet in the Nasdaq. Okay, that has not happened yet. So again, um, all right. So this is demand here, a lot of demand, right? So right here, this area, this little area, really is bull land. Okay, we just sold off here into the overnight, sold off more, and let's just see what happens here. Okay, let's just see what happens. This is pretty much the area, kind of similar to the ES. Okay, that you have the most traded price right here, 193.64 in the Nasdaq. I feel like you need to move away from that, and you will. You'll move away from it. So you have a demand here, and you could just get caught right there. Boop, start lifting off, break this confluence high, that 195.11. See if you can hit this naked VPOC and make yourself into these single prints. And do you go all the way up to the most traded price of the month, which would be 198.8? Is it 80? Yeah, 198.80. And let's change that to green. I think I forgot to, and let's go into the scenarios here. I'll just repeat what I said. So, like I said, price is here. We could dip down into this. Demands kind of overlap each other. Go right past that and try to break this confluence high. If you do, you can hit that naked VPOC, which is just an untested most traded price of a day, and see if you can make yourself all the way back up into these single prints over 199.80. Do I think that happens? I don't know. I don't know if we make that big of a move, right? But that's one, right? We could also come down, hit the week to date VWAP here in the most traded price yesterday, and this demand. It's kind of like the last line of defense here. You could just bounce, and maybe you only go to here. Okay, it's kind of what I'm looking at as far as the bull side. Is the bear side. Okay, price is right here, right? So this is a very good area here that's been resistance twice. So if we do make it up here, maybe we do a little bull trap here, break this, lower high, then you can come through. If you come through this most traded price of the overnight 193.64, you're probably going to test the overnight lows here. And then you're probably going to land at the most traded price of yesterday, which is 192.23. Okay. If you break that and start to find acceptance, maybe we test yesterday's lows. I don't know how much strength the sellers have today, especially with that liberation day tomorrow. Like I said, I think it's priced in, but people might not make a big move today in price just because of that. People might be wary of it. Okay. And that is it. That's my analysis for today. All right. So hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please smash that like button. That would mean a lot to me. All right. And of course, as always, please join me every day, every morning, and sit with your boy and get the lowdown on what's going on in the stocks, the story, the market news, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards, and of course the long and short trade scenarios that I just went over. All right, please join me. All right, now we have a plan, right? Am I a fan of this today? Not the most, fam. When you're in ultimate balance in the ES, like I said, in the middle of the most traded price of the month in the week, that is a chop city. So I don't want to be in the middle of that. I want to be active at those levels or below those levels or above the most traded price of the month. It's just you're going to get chopped up. So that's what I see for today. Now remember, we have our plan. Remember, no trade's a trade. Stay green, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.